episode is brought to you by Generate Solutions, your go-to AI experts specializing in empowering commercial real estate companies and environmental consulting firms. As AI is quickly transforming industries and enhancing efficiency, it is important you don't let your business fall behind. At Generate Solutions, we streamline workflows and automate tasks by creating custom AI agents tailored specifically to your business needs. Interested in taking your operations to the next level with AI? Email mfiorante@generatesolutions.com or find us directly on LinkedIn by clicking the link in the bio. On to our episode.
Good afternoon and welcome to another edition of A Conversation with John Conenna. Today's a special one for me because we go down a different road, but a road that was close to my home. A lady from Norwood Park, and I was from Norwich. Always heard about her, but never got a chance to meet her. And now I finally met her and took the opportunity to finally say, hey, why don't you come on my show for an interview? Her maiden name, of course, is Patrice Gramarossa, Patti Gramarossa, Reed, while she was married. And, of course, went by her stage name, Patrice Patti Ross. But definitely we are going to go down memory lane about something special here in Chicago that I thought they would still maybe possibly bring back, especially the way the team's playing. We might need those Chicago Honey Bears because Patti is formerly a Chicago Honey Bear and, of course, has delved into so many things, modeling, movies, and everything else that we'll touch base on. She is part of a book called Missing from the Sidelines, which here I'm going to hold up, Missing from the Sidelines. And it was written by Renee Helverson Wright, and I think it was kind of looked at by Carolson Caruso Jolette.
She was involved as well. Yes.
Great. And I love the top of it before I introduce you for this last second, Patti. When Papa Bear George Ellis says, as long as I'm alive, we'll have dancing girls on the sideline. Papa Bear George Ellis. Patti, good afternoon and welcome. And thank you for coming on, honey.
Thank you, John. Good to be here. And we're going to have fun this afternoon.
Yes, we are.
Let's do it.
You're bringing me back to a time where it was just a special time in Chicago because, we talked about players back in those days. We had players like, Walter Payton, Ted Albrecht. I remember the great Alan Page came from Minnesota here to play one year for us. And I think he was a rookie at the time, Dan Hampton in 1979. So, the memories have to flow, but I'm going to ask you something to start this question today. So a $10 bet basically spoons Miss Patti to say, I'm going to do this. And this was from your brother, Steve. And by the way, say hello to Steve after this podcast for me.
I will.
What did that $10 bet? He ignited you, didn't he? Can we go back to that bet?
Certainly. We were in the kitchen of our house on Natome Avenue, and I walked in the house and I said, I'm going to try out for be a cheerleader, these Honey Bears for the Chicago Bears. My father said, we sent her to singing school, dancing school, acting school. You're going to be a cheerleader the rest of your life. By the way, Dad was at every game. He was so proud.
Okay,
but
I can
then
imagine.
My brother said to me, you'll never make it. I'll bet you $10. So he bet me $10 and I won the bet.
You should.
Yeah.
So what did you have to do to get recognized for this? Even though you had this esteem, as the modeling, you were thinking already of the acting, but where did you have to go and how does it get started?
Well, here's what you had to do. My agent was the agent. And she said, would you consider being a honey bear, a cheerleader? You've got your dancing abilities. You've got the background. You know how to get out on the field. Everything had to be large when you were auditioning. So when you're on the field, they can see you. So we went to, I believe, the tryouts at the time. I tried out a couple times because I was on for a couple years. Was at McCormick Place. There was a hotel, and we were in the grand ballroom of McCormick Place of this hotel that used to be McCormick Place Hotel.
Okay.
And what?
No, I said,
What?
okay, okay.
Yeah, yeah. And I'll tell you, there were 1,500 girls. I thought, oh, and John, they were beautiful. I mean, long legs, you've met me. I'm not real tall, and they were gorgeous. And I thought,
Wow.
well, I'm here to have a good time. I'm going to have
Exactly.
fun. And I smiled. I thought I can dance, and
Sure.
that's what I had. I can smile. If I screw up, I'll just keep smiling. Well, I did keep smiling. I had a good time because these girls were beautiful.
Yeah.
And there's 32 girls on the squad, 32 they were going to choose. And then they had 10 girls they were going to pick for alternates.
Oh, wow.
And so out of these 1,500 girls, I thought,
Holy
well,
cow.
at least this is a good experience, right? And I got
Yeah.
to meet everybody, the judges, they had judging.
Yeah.
And needless to say, I made the cut, the first cut, the first year, the second cut. It was quite an experience. And the women that did make the team, they were really, really talented gals. But like I said, I could dance and I
Yeah.
could smile and I did my thing and I made the cut. So
And of course, you had the Gramarossa personality.
thank you very much.
You're a Norwood Park, Norwich guy here, so I knew you were very special. But I got to ask you, when you say you could dance, had you taken some kind of dance lessons, or was just the natural ability, that second nature of going out and not being afraid to dance?
No, I studied dance. Would you believe it? I was young at
Wow.
Norwood Park.
Oh,
Norwood
wow.
Park had the dance teacher, the Park District. And by the way, I now teach at the Park District out in
Oh, wow.
Palatine dance. But I was so inspired. So all I wanted to do was dance. So my folks sent me to Norwood Park to see if I liked it. And I
Sure.
took ballet and I took tap. Yeah. And then I stopped for a while. And then I took it again. Gus Giordano's, Lou Conti, Hubbard Street Dancers. And these
Wow.
girls were tremendous. But again, I was a street dancer too. I mean, my folks could dance. I mean,
Right.
ballroom dancing, and I loved my dancing. That I can speak through my dancing, so to
Sure.
speak.
And back in that era when you were trying out, of course, the disco thing was so hot, where couple dances were very famous back in those days, when we were doing like a hustle or a Latin tango or some
Yes.
the swing to some of those Saturday Night Fever songs. So we were all in that repertoire of, hey, you better know how to dance, because those were the fun times of our life for sure.
Those were really fun. One, two, three. My brother worked at Cinderella Rockefeller.
Over there
That
in
was at
Arlington
the
Heights.
racetrack with
You're
all the
right.
guys, Joey Malone and Lewis. All the guys hung out there.
Yeah, we were all
And
there.
Faces, of course, and BBC. I mean, I'd go out just to dance, even if it was for an hour, and then I'd go home. I mean,
Right, right.
I was out to dance.
You mentioned in the book, and by the way, again, I know I held up the book before, and I would like people to really purchase this book because it was fun. I've delved into it a little bit the last couple of days, and of course, your section on yours, and of course, a lot of the ladies, you're from like 200 to 204 on this. But you mentioned in the book about the tryouts that it was daunting a little bit. It was nerve-wracking. Were you told like, "Hey, Gramarossa, pick it up," or let's do it again? How long was this tryout?
Here's what they did. You did several tryouts. They were several nights. First of all, somebody gets up there, they show you the steps of a dance, and you got to pick it up immediately.
Boom.
And no, the judges were just looking at you with their arms folded. I thought, oh, I don't care. I don't know these people. I'm just going to have fun because I
Right.
always figure if they're not from my neighborhood, I'm going to have fun. And I did. I smiled and no, they didn't tell you what to do or what not to do. They just sent you out there to see what you could
You
do.
could do. Very well
Right.
put by you, right? And you know what? What a great attitude you took because you went into it. I think the worst case scenario is you're only going to lose $10 to your brother.
But see, if I would have lost that $10, he would have drove me nuts the rest of my life.
Right, right. He
Hey,
would have brought
remember,
it up.
I won that bet. I got it. You know my brother.
Oh,
Right.
yeah, for sure, for sure. I got to ask you, there was something right in the first two chapters of the book, Patty, that I loved. There was something about your agents were Sharon Cooper and Evelyn Duggan at that
Loved
time.
Evelyn and
Yeah,
Sharon.
yeah.
Loved them
Plus,
both.
it was a talent agency, and I think there was something about describe this thing that you did with Miss Flame.
Oh, I became Miss Flame for the Chicago Fire Department,
Yes.
bless. And my agents, they all said, you got to have a title. Well, I'd walk into these agencies and I'd give them a picture. They'd say, but you got to have a title. I thought, a title? A title like what? Miss USA, Miss this, Miss that. So I thought, I love the fire department. A fire truck had gone by, and I thought, wouldn't that be great? I've got uncles that are the Carones that are firemen.
Yeah.
So I thought, you know what? The best thing to do now, I'm young, mind you, 17 years old. I go into Mayor Daley's office downtown.
The old man, Richard
The
J.
old man, it was right before he died, too. He was a good guy to me. And now I'm thinking, these people don't know me. I'm from the neighborhood. That's how we thought. These
Exactly.
people don't know me. I'll give it a try. Well, the secretary wouldn't let me in. I said, I really do need to speak to the mayor. Couldn't you just get me in there? She said, no, you cannot. You don't even have an appointment. Well, as I was talking, Richard Daley Sr. comes out of the office. He said, what's going on there? Because I went up to him. I said, oh, sir, what a pleasure to meet you. And he said, what's going on? And she said she wanted to come into your office. She doesn't have an appointment. We don't know who she is. He said, well, what did you want to see me about? I said, well, I'm in the modeling agents, I'm getting into modeling and I need a title and I would love to be Miss Chicago Flame for the Chicago Fire Department. He said, kid, you got chutzpah. Let me call Commissioner Quinn. We'll go to lunch and we'll talk about this. And that's how I got it.
And you batted those eyes that day for sure.
Yeah. And I thought, how cool is this? So at all the graduations and everything, at first, I wasn't old enough. So
Yeah.
my folks had to come with me. I was with the priest, but then I turned 18 and I could go to the graduations for the firemen myself. But what an honor for the
Right.
city. It was an
Oh,
honor.
for sure. For sure.
So then
Without
I
it.
walked into the agents and I said, here, I'm Miss Flame because I asked Mayor Daley, I said, I'm gonna need a letter or something to show
Right.
them. He said, whatever you want, kid. And he was really good to me.
But you know what, Patty? Again, like you say, you're just about to walk out of that office. The timing, and as my parents would always say to me, it's the destiny that you had to be there that day. You
Yes,
had to be there that
it
day.
was meant to be. Yeah, with destiny.
You
Wow.
know, I
Interesting to say that.
the honey bear thing opens doors without a doubt. I read that in the book for you where, they said, if you get this, this is going to open doors. So I want to tell our audience today that, this led you to, these movies. And of course, and I want you to know, I'm not brown nosing here. I don't want you to think now I'm you brown nosing you like you did daily. My favorite movie of all time was Thief with James Caan. And I want to tell our audience that Thief, Patty was in it as Marie, the wife to Mr. Belushi, Jim Belushi. And I recommend people watch this movie. That was a great movie for its time. I was 1980, I think it came out.
Yes.
And of course, we have something in common, which I'll get to later. The beautiful Tuesday Weld.
Yeah.
at that time was in that movie, who was James Caan's wife. And of course, then you go on to do the movie with The Code of Silence, Dr. Detroit,
Yes.
the
Up
Duke.
north.
Yeah. So you,
And
how did how
I
does the
didn't,
Thief thing happen? Because Thief at the time, 1980, with James Caan, right after he did the thing with the Godfather trilogy, the Godfather.
correct.
How does Patti Gramarossa Norwood Park get this one?
So here's what happened. I was also in The Duke, the TV series that was my first thing with
That's
Bob
with Bob
Conrad.
Conrad.
And they gave me a lot of tips with my lines and what to do because I had lines in that as well. Um, and how to work on the set with everybody. I mean, the Teamsters, the electricians, they were wonderful. And I knew a lot of them because I had worked conventions at McCormick Place and it was a blessing. So this movie, Thief, I had did some work with the apparel center in at the Holiday Inn downtown. And I walked into one room and it was Michael Mann, who was the director of Thief. It was his mom's jewelry, costume jewelry. I got to know her quite well. She was absolutely lovely. So Thief comes up. I said to my agent, please send me on this audition. Send me on it. So Sharon said, okay, go on this audition. And I was auditioning. Michael Mann was there. So I walked in and I introduced myself, shook his hand, and I said, pleasure to meet you. And I said, I bet your mother's very proud of you. He said, my mother? I said, yeah, I know your mom. I said, I bet she's very proud. He said, well, yeah, she is. Sit down, will you? So I sat down, I read for him. They didn't call me though till 2 months later. I thought I didn't get the part. So they
Okay.
called me back for a second audition. Didn't get dressed up. I went in my jeans. I had my glasses on. I thought, oh, I'm not going to get this. Sure enough, I walk in. I didn't even have to read. Michael Mann shook my hand. He said, I want you to meet, Jim Belushi. You've got the part.
Wow.
I said, oh, wonderful. I
Incredible.
was, it was. I was very blessed.
But you know what, Patty, just talking to you now and listening to the story of, even the thing with the Bears, you have that personality that kind of draws a person in. And here, a young, at that time, maybe not as experienced, because Mann went on to do Miami Vice and other things.
He had done Miami Vice, he did Thief, and then he did Manhunter, and then he did The Last of the Mohicans. I mean,
Yes,
Michael,
yes.
and Michael's from the neighborhood, he's from the Austin neighborhood.
The Austin, yes, the Austin.
Over, yes, and he was from the neighborhood. So
Yeah.
he was very cool, very businesslike, but he was great to read for. I wanted to be, then he did the Untouchables. I wanted to be in that, but there really was no part for me.
You
Michael
know,
said,
I
Patty,
want you I want you to know this, that I've watched that movie probably about, I'm saying in my lifetime 50 times.
which
My
one,
favorite
Thief?
movie of all time is
Thief?
Raging Bull. But I have to tell
Oh,
you, I
Raging
remember
Bull.
with the Robert De Niro when he played the Jake LaMotta. I
Yeah.
have to tell you, well, let's go back to Thief. I still remember the scene with you from the top of my head where you go to the house that James Caan bought for Tuesday Weld, and you guys pulled up in that white Corvette. You and
Right.
Belushi, and you come out of the car and you hug her, Tuesday Weld, and he said, oh my God, this is beautiful. I remember that. And then, of course, you had that scene on the beach with Jim Belushi when you guys were going to come back after that big job.
Yeah, they took me to California. Well, they cut out a lot of my parts, which is fine because I did get paid. I do get residual checks, so please, everybody watch it again.
Yeah, I'll watch it another
Um,
50 times. Don't worry.
it was, I was really blessed. They took me to California, and on my days off, I went to ABC, showed them my portfolio, I did
Wow.
get offered a part in a TV show. I called my agent. She said, "You're a honey bear. If you don't come back within the next week, you're off the squad." So I called my mom. Mom said, "You're not staying out there. You gotta come home." I told ABC like it, and I had walked in to get the part. I read for it and everything. They told me to come home, so I did.
Wow.
Um, I'm
And
such a baby.
even like this, going back to the Honey Bears, was it 3 seasons you were there?
Two seasons.
Two
Two
seasons. Okay.
seasons, and I did some work for them because I had my Screen Actors Guild card. I had my
Got it.
AFTRA, which is now combined with Screen Actors Guild. AFTRA was American Television Radio. And they sent me to Dallas to do a radio show. I represented them. I think I went to Colorado. Um, in the meantime, though, yeah, I moved on. I did a couple episodes of Crime Stories. So yeah,
Yes.
yeah,
That was with Dennis Farina,
yes. Dennis
Crimes.
is a good guy. Dennis and I were in The Duke. Dennis and I were in Thief.
The
And
Thief.
then I needed work. I did need the work. And he was in Code of Silence. I
Yes. And
said,
you were also in that. Yeah, you were
Dennis.
also.
So they called my agent and said, "Can you send Patty to audition?" And that's how I got that part in Code of Silence. That was Dennis.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
you know what?
great
I
guy.
and I thank you for mentioning Crime Story because that was on Friday nights at 9 o'clock after Miami Vice. I'll never forget that. And I was in love with the actor Anthony Dennison, who played Ray Luca,
Yeah,
who played
yeah,
Ray
yeah,
Luca,
yeah,
with that Mike Torello, who was Dennis
yes.
Farina, was chasing. Yes, yes.
Well, see, I was only in like one episode. I did
Episode, yeah,
a couple,
yeah.
yeah, I didn't do a lot on that, but
But
yeah,
it's amazing, when I was reading through, of course, the chapter on you, and like I said, we're going to push this book. When I was reading the chapter on you, it's amazing, even your Las Vegas appearances. I saw in here where you're with Barbara Sinatra and his son, Frank. And I got to ask you the ultimate question because I got a little bit jealous here because I wish I was him there. You met the number 12 from the New York Jets, a guy by the name of Joe Namath. What was that all
oh,
about?
I was working, yeah, I was working the electronics show with him.
Yeah.
I was working with him. He was cool. He invited me to go out to dinner with them, but I was going out with Barbara Marx and Sinatra, Willie Rizzo.
Willie
I was
Rizzo.
hanging with those guys. I said to Joe, I can ask him, you can come with us. No, I got you can come with me to dinner. I turned it down, but he was a nice guy to work with. He was
Yeah.
good to work with.
And you say in the book here that undoubtedly that was one of your most memorable times, that electronics show. When I was reading that. But I mean, here's a guy larger than life, and now he's going to take you out to dinner. I look at you as little Patti Gramarossa from
Yeah,
Norwood Park.
yeah, yes,
But
yeah.
yeah, again, your personality and your appearance. Um, how important were the honey bears to like these philanthropical groups and everything? You guys did a lot of charities and everything, and you're still doing things in relationship to that. How important was that to the organization and you guys?
The organization really didn't get involved with that. Our agent did. I think it was important to the city of Chicago.
Right.
We did benefits off the street club, big time, little city. Um, we did Shriners, we did St. Jude.
Wow.
We did so much. I can't even begin to tell you. The Italian American, I did work with those clubs. The Sports Hall of Fame, I was signing autographs with a boxer that was Italian and Patty DeAndre, who was another cheerleader.
Sure.
So it was so beneficial to the city, and the city has such great fans. It was really, really nice. They treated the cheerleaders with almost the same respect and admiration they treated the football players.
Right,
And,
exactly. Oh my God.
and any of the sports figures. So they were very, very, very good to us. And even now that Renee and Carolyn put that book out, we we did, I was with the alumni group. We did one of the draft parties down at Soldier Field. I couldn't get over the fans that were there. I said, girls, this is wonderful. And that was it.
Right.
Then we start booking everything we could and work that, because the fans we still have such wonderful fans, and we're doing fundraising, and it's a wonderful, at this stage of the game, I'm very blessed to be able
Yes.
and thankful that, and I have met some wonderful people in the entertainment business who have been wonderful to me. The in the sports and everything now even. So yeah, it's a blessing, and I'm thankful.
And I want to tell our audience, let's talk about the honey bears again. Of course, you were talented, a good-looking woman. They're looking for all different things here. Your personality, good-looking woman, talent. Could you dance? Could you move? Could you be able to, be versatile in your life? My question is this: you had to really did it interfere in your daily routine? Because I mean, this was in those days was either every Sunday or possibly a Monday night game. Now, of course, football, you don't know what night they're playing anymore. But was it a major impact on your life starting in 1979?
Absolutely. For me, my main objective was to work. I was modeling, I was cheerleading, and I was doing. Some of the other girls were married, they had boyfriends. I mean, it did impact their life. I mean, we had 2 practices a week that you had to be there. You could not miss. When I did the movie Thief, I had to get approval that I would be gone to California
Sure.
for those 2 weeks, and that's when I was going to stay there for a while, and they said, come back or you're off. But
Right.
you do have to, and it does impact your life. It's your whole life. That's what you're
Sure.
doing. So I was doing cheerleading, I was doing modeling, and they were booking us for conventions. And then we did a lot of offers because I had the time to
Sure.
do benefits that would just be my time, not getting
Exactly.
paid. Yeah, and I was very blessed. It snowballed and it turned into I the endorsements were
Oh,
tremendous,
tremendous, tremendous.
big time, because we only got paid like $10 a game, but the endorsements for all the things that we did, it was unbelievable.
Patty, thank you for bringing that up because I told my daughter the other day that I was
She's
going to be.
beautiful, by the
Oh,
way.
thank
What
you.
a
Thank you so
beautiful
much. I
woman.
saw your
I saw
comments
her
about that.
picture, mud on.
Thank you. She was a Chicago Blackhawk ice crew girl. And she says,
Oh,
Dad,
really?
yeah, for 6 years during those Stanley Cup years. And
Yes.
she would tell me, Dad, it was a sacrifice to do all this, like you're saying. And now, when you say $10, they were only making maybe $90 a game to do all this work and everything else. I have to ask you, I read where, you had to keep in shape with the Gramarossa body. I mean, you had to keep it in shape, salads, everything else, because, I mean, they wanted a certain look, right, Patty?
Oh, yeah. My weight. If you didn't make the weight, they weighed us every week. And if you didn't make it, they would eliminate, you'd sit off and they'd bring in one of the alternates. So I would go without, my mother'd have a fit. I would go without eating. I'd be eating lettuce and drinking water. But see, when
Wow.
you're all muscle like that, it's hard to lose weight. But we
Yeah,
would lose it, and when we did it, yeah, it was
sure,
it was
sure.
discipline. Yeah.
Sure. Your
Yeah.
opinion on this book, before I go to something else, Missing from the Sidelines. I'm going to hold it up again for our audience because we want to push this book, correct? We really do
Thank
want to
you.
push this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Missing from the
I,
Sidelines again, Renee Helverson Wright and Carolyn Caruso. I hope I'm pronouncing her name right,
you
Jolette.
are.
Yeah,
Yes.
Gillette.
And
It's the untold story of the Chicago Honey Bears, NFL cheerleaders, and of course, my guest today, as I interrupt her a little bit here, is Patti Gramarossa, just a lady that I always wanted to meet from Norwood Park because she was 5 minutes from my house. You're looking back on it because we're going to play a game of 5 questions before I let you go. Looking back on it, Patti, I mean, you still have that heart and desire when I see you do these little functions that you do and still talk about it. What's the greatest memory you had of this?
the greatest memory.
Yeah,
I had so many wonderful memories. It was great to see my dad out on the field.
yeah,
Um, the memories of Sinatra, the
sure.
memory I've had so many. I've met so many wonderful people. I have to say, people were wonderful to me. Irv Kupcinet and his wife,
Wow.
um, George from the Italian American Sports Hall of
George
Fame.
Randazzo. George Randazzo.
Passed away. Yes, very
Yes.
good to us. Yes. So now I meet their kids and I
Yeah,
meet the other people involved, and it's interesting. So I can't say that one thing sticks out
exactly. There's so
or
many.
that special. There's so many, but I'll tell you, the first time I ran out on Soldier Field
Oh,
and they played, um,
the
the
national
song.
anthem.
And thank you, the national anthem. And you looked at the columns, that was before they redid it. It
Right.
brings tears to your eyes.
Oh, sure.
That I can't even explain to you. Just
Oh, without a doubt. Yeah, no, I
yeah,
can
that
imagine
was the best.
the adrenaline and the emotion with that crowd in the background.
Yes.
Um, I'm gonna play a game of 5 questions before I let you go. You can answer them in 1 or 2 words, a sentence, however, but I'm gonna give 5 because we want to get to know you a little bit better before I let you go. Just before I do let you go here, Patti, what are you doing nowadays?
I work for I'm a marketing manager for a finance company, and I teach ballet and tap at the Park District out in Palatine, and
Yeah.
we're doing benefits with
Yeah,
honey bears and personal appearances.
I'm going to
Yes.
hold up some pictures quickly for our audience. See, Patti was so gracious to give me some pictures during that era. Here's a beautiful one with you with the palms, because I know you have the palms there today of Patti. This is a beautiful picture. There she is. Nothing's changed,
Yay.
Patti. Nothing's changed. Nothing's changed.
Yay.
A
Yay.
beautiful. One of my favorite pictures of you is this one with some of the ladies. Maybe you can remember all the names. It's this one. I see.
Absolutely.
I
Yes.
see you, of course, there in the
Gary,
middle.
Patty Luisi, yeah, Linda. And this particular picture was sold at J.C. Penney's. It was in a poster.
Oh,
So
wow.
it sold all over. And that
Yeah.
was one of the first posters that came out. It's a
Beautiful
little,
picture of you guys. Yeah,
thank
just
you.
you talk
Thank you.
about, the memories and that first and lasting impression is this what this picture remembers. And then of course there's some beautiful black and whites that
Oh,
you
yeah.
gave to me that are beautiful.
Susan, Terry, myself, Mary Kay, Patty Luisi. Yes, aren't
Wow.
they beautiful? The
Yes.
girls.
And
Yeah.
I guess this is going to be my all-time favorite because you signed it to me. But this is the Patti that I used to see, but she didn't know me. This is back in Norwood Park, and this is that beautiful picture of you signed. And just and where did all these years go, right, Patti? Where did all these
Yeah,
years
you
go?
close your eyes and
And it's a blank, right?
yeah, but I thank God we're at today. We all have
Sure.
our health. We're doing our thing. We're in touch with all the girls. Those days were wonderful. And it would be nice to have my mom still around, but dad's still around at 97.
It's
Uh,
fantastic.
yeah, my brother, my sister. So I'm My husband, he'd be happy to be alive if he
For
was
sure.
what's going on now. But yeah, I'm happy where I'm at now.
No,
I thank
and I
God
can
that I
see that
made it
about
this
you.
far,
Yeah,
so
okay.
life
All
is
right.
good.
I'm going to ask you 5 questions and then I'm going to let you go.
Okay.
All right. The first one is it could be your parents, it could be anybody that you remember still to this day. Who were some of those early mentors that you said, wow, they believed in me and here I got to this point in my life? Who do you remember, a man or a woman that still, when you're at that light, maybe driving home from work, you say, wow, I wish they were still here?
My mom and dad, first of all, and
Sure.
Evelyn Duggan from A Plus. I loved her. She was wonderful. She encouraged me. She had more faith in me than I did myself.
Sure.
And my fifth grade teacher, Mrs. Pazinski, when she was teaching me math, and all of a sudden the light went off, and math is one of my favorite
Wow.
subjects to this day.
You know, I want to tell people that I forgot to mention in the main part of the interview, Patty, that you are in the Taft Hall of Fame.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes, I am.
I did read that too, and that's an
Yeah.
honor of honors because to be in any kind of Hall of Fame, you have done something fantastic. And that, for me, anyone who says they're in a Hall of Fame is it means the world. All right, you've been in movies, and I'm sure you've watched a few. What's a movie that you can watch 200 times and not get bored?
Godfather.
All right, the first one was
Wizard of Oz. I get two of
okay.
them.
Okay, you
I'd
get
love to
to.
go. Yeah, I'd love to go to Vegas in the Sphere, but the Godfather.
So the
Mhm.
one with Brando or the second one with De Niro?
I like all three of them. You got to put them all together.
You
Even the
write the
third one.
trilogy, right? I
Yeah, I
like
like
the
the
one with Brando
trilogy.
and James Caan when
Yes,
James Caan
the
plays
first
Santino.
one.
Yeah.
Yes. When
Yeah.
I was doing Thief and I had a dressing room that was the trailer, and I'd like to fall asleep. You can't. And they brought me, so James Caan said, what do you need in your, and Michael Mann, what do you need in your trailer? I said, I'd like a recorder and I'd like the movie Godfather so I can watch it. They said, okay. And they sent it to me.
It was no problem, right? It was no
Oh,
problem.
no
Yeah.
problem whatsoever.
Yeah. Okay, so that would be the movie, which would be fantastic. All right. I'm doing the interviewing today. Okay, I'm doing the interviewing. If you had to do the interview, and I'm going to ask you this, I know what the answer is. I already know, but it can't be that answer. Who would you like to interview? And it can't be me because I know you want to interview me.
Could they be alive or dead?
Alive or dead. But remember,
Frank
I know you want to
Sinatra.
interview me, but it can't be me.
It would absolutely be you, but Frank Sinatra.
Oh, okay. All
Frank
right.
Sinatra,
The chairman of the boards.
the chairman of the board, absolutely.
All
He
right.
was
That's
he was very good to me too. So
very nice. I can imagine. And what a look and what a way about this man. It was incredible. Yes. All right. Could have been years ago, could have been now. What's the go-to restaurant for you and your favorite food when you want to go out, put those heels on, and be Patti Gramarossa Reed?
okay, it would have been Gianotti's,
Yeah.
but that's no longer here. Are you talking about one now?
Yeah, one now. What's your favorite now?
Giannotti, my favorite now, but if it's where I live, um, it would see. I like them all. I like Zaza's.
Oh, yeah.
I like Moretti's. I like Freddie Hoffman's places. I
Sure,
mean, they're
sure.
the best.
And
Zaza.
I like the Zazas out by you in North Barrington, I think it is, right?
Yes, Lake
Yes,
Barrington.
right.
Yes.
Yeah, very nice. Okay,
Mhm.
so you have some good choices. So we'll have to remember that. All
And
right.
of course, Chicago Prime. You want to go to
Yes.
Chicago Prime.
Yeah, we could
But I mean, yeah,
exactly. So yeah, you got some good choices in here. All right. Here's the question. It's yes or no, or you can elaborate on it. If you had to do this all over again, are you doing it the same way? And are you taking that $10 from Steve Grammarosa?
absolutely. I wouldn't change. It was rough. A lot of times were rough, a lot of times were fun, but I would do it again. I'd like to do it again with what I know now.
Right, Patty. Exactly. Oh, incredible. I mean, I can imagine, and I'm sure you and Steve have the laugh about it now, but I know your family and him because I saw him a couple weeks back, of course, as you know, where I saw him.
Yeah.
They're very proud of you. And when you said yes to me, when I reached out to you and you says, John, I'll come on your show, it was a big thrill for me knowing that somebody from my era wanted to do this interview with me. I thank you today.
Well, I feel honored that you wanted me, and you really did. You were very good with me to have me do this, and I appreciate it. And we got to have everybody from Holy Cross watching this because John, everyone went to Holy Cross.
Right.
With my brother and the guys, Joey, Lewis, Frankie Venuti, all you guys. Yeah.
Oh, that was the year. And I remember your name always was mentioned in the sense of, wow, and of course you were already doing the Chicago Bears. So, it was a thrill for us.
Speaking of a restaurant I would like to go to and that I do all the time is Venuti's.
Oh, yeah, great food.
Yeah,
Frank's does some wonderful.
They have everything I like. They make the sauce the way I like, and it's got to be, but Venuti's, absolutely.
Yeah, you know what, Patty? A lot of people think Venuti's is just for banquets, but the food is fantastic, right?
No, the food, the food is terrific. The sauces are good. Everything is good.
Very good.
Good, very good.
Last question. What's your favorite song to dance to back in the day? If it's a disco song.
A disco song?
You got a couple?
Yeah, I guess we would have a couple.
Yeah, I would think so.
Yeah, I'm trying to.
I don't think in Faces they had the speakers off.
No, but the one I do have to say, because I'm thinking about him now, and he's coming to town, going to be at the Arcada in St. Charles, is Gino Vanelli's songs.
Oh yeah, the Canadian guy.
Yes, right. The Italian Canadian guy.
Good looking man in the day.
Yes, he's not bad now.
Okay, stay away from if I see you on that stage, I'll be yelling.
You might. But Gino, and then of course I like Donna Summers and everything that was anything from Saturday Night Fever.
Okay.
The Bee Gees.
Well, I'm going to surprise you when this comes out in a couple days. Well, maybe I'll put a Donna Summer song to this.
Oh, good. Yeah, because she was, she was great. They would turn those records. I mean, Faces was terrific with Jimmy Rittenberg, and rest his soul, Jay Emmerich. And and they'd be flashing our pictures up on the.
Oh, what a time! What a time!
Yes.
It was really Faces was our Studio 54.
That's correct. Correct.
We have visited today with Patti Gramarossa Reed. Just what I thought it was going to be a total delight. It went over my expectations, and I really thank you, Patti, for coming on a conversation with John Conenna.
John, thank you. It was a pleasure meeting you, and I appreciate it. What an honor to be on your show. Thank you.
Thank you. Good day, everyone.
Good day.